The James Show Podcast.
We have the curious case of a principal here in Dallas. He got sent home. She's home on administrative leave right now, maybe losing her job. An interim principal has been named in her stead, which isn't a good sign. All for the crime of trying to help out some students in her school that weren't doing so well. Woodrow Wilson High School is a public school that got a B grade from the state based on the standardized testing by which they measure such things. And so she noticed that the group that did the worst out of all the demographics in her school, which is overwhelmingly Hispanic, and then it's about 20-something% white, 9% black. She called black students into the auditorium for a meeting on Friday. She told them they performed out of all the other groups. They performed the worst. They held them down. And if they had done better, the school would have gotten an A grade. So here's what she's going to do. She's going to start a new club within this community that can work to improve those scores. So next year, when it comes time to take the test, we'll get better results. And for her troubles, she may be losing her job.
I've heard from several parents today who are deeply concerned about what their high schoolers described to them, a meeting just for African-American students. That's according to the kids who attended. They say Woodrow Wilson High School principal Chandra Hooper Barnett called a meeting of African-American students only during advisory period. And according to multiple parents, she told them that they were the reason that the school has a B rating and not an A. Jennifer Bush heard it from her son, a sophomore.
She said that? I was like, that's what they said to you? I was like, I'm calling the school tomorrow.
She's one of many parents to tell me that they called and complained.
I thought it was extremely discriminatory and inflammatory to sit down a bunch of black children and tell them that they're the reason why the school is in a bad light in their eyes.
And today, an email to parents from Woodrow Wilson announcing a new interim principal and acknowledging a, quote, recent incident occurred on our campus that does not reflect the values and expectations of our school community. No mention of Principal Hooper Barnett, but she also wrote an email to parents over the weekend to apologize, writing in part, quote, the decision to hold that meeting and subsequent discussions that transpired was not appropriate. I take full ownership and responsibility for what occurred, and I want to assure you that it was never my intent to single out or cause harm to any group of students. The email never explicitly said the exact circumstances of that meeting. Parents tell me they want more information on what happened and what was said.
There is a lot left to be desired. Like, I'm happy at the rapid response. I don't know how it was allowed to happen in the first place. I don't know how she felt comfortable enough to do that.
I reached out to both Dallas ISD and to Principal Hooper Barnett. No response from either so far, and no information right now on whether she faces any discipline or whether she could return to work. In Dallas, I'm Luke Clary.
I have no criticism for the principal. I have no criticism for the students who did poorly on the test. My only criticism is for the mom for two reasons. Number one, you find out that the principal pulled aside a group of students who performed poorly on the test and came up with a new program to help them out. She should deserve praise. But you saw that as an insult? And so now you're seeking to get her fired? Okay, there's your first mistake. Someone trying to help your kids. You got offended by the truth, and it was a benevolent, well-intended truth that offended you. Number two, who the hell would go to the news and make sure it's on all the TV stations in town that, hey, our demographics is doing terrible on standardized testing and dragging down the scores of the whole rest of the school? You want the rest of the world to know that? Do you think that really helps your community? Oh, no. People are being racist to us. Why? Because we scored really low on academic standards testing. Wow. Just total lack of self-awareness is mind-blowing there, and it's not going to help your kids get ahead. Here's the proper response and what most decent parents would do. The principal pulls your kid aside for poor test scores. Your kid comes home, tells a story. You know what you'd say? We need to work on your test scores. How about that? Chris and Josephine, you're on WBAP.
Hey, what's kicking, Jimbo?
Just the James Show.
I agree with you for most of this stuff. The principal could have handled it a little better as far as, pulling all the kids together and then saying, basically, you guys are dumb and you're dragging us all down. As a parent of a student, that that would kind of irk me.
What? She didn't say they were dumb.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
okay. But what if it's the truth? Like,
a little bit.
What's a nice way to tell a group of students that you're the reason we got to be? You guys are performing behind the rest of the school.
What you do is you just send out an email to the parents, or you send out a letter to the students to take home to the parents and say, hey, look, your kid's underperforming. I have a special program I want to put together. If your kid's interested, to help bring the scores up. That would be the proper way to do it.
So telling the kids directly is the problem?
Yeah, I think bringing them all together and saying, hey, y'all are dragging everybody down is kind of a little harsh for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. Listen, if in a sports scenario, stay with me here. If you had a couple of guys on your team that were just missing all their blocks or dropping all their passes or missing all their shots or whatever the sport is, would it be mean if you pulled them aside and it's like, hey, you're dragging us down, you need to work on your free throws or something? Or do I have to go find the kid's dad and be like, hey, can you work on his free throws with him?
No, it wouldn't be, but you expect that from a coach in sports. When you sign up for sports, you expect that kind of talk. When you're just walking around in school, you don't expect the principal to drag you all together and say, hey, you're dragging everybody down.
I know. No, I disagree. I kind of do. I expect the principals to do that. I expect the principals to crack the whip on people who aren't performing academically, just like I expect coaches to crack the whip on people who aren't performing athletically.
Back in the day, they used to allow, administrators to do that, but everybody's soft now, and you can't do that anymore.
I hear you. Well, that part is definitely true because, this lady's about to lose her job. Thank you, Chris and Josephine. Aaron Anderson's coming back on with Texas Scorecard, which is, if you want to keep up with all the terrible teachers in the Lone Star State, she heads up the series called Bad Apples. And I could do this once a week, Aaron. I don't want to do a weekly segment on teachers abusing children because it's kind of gross and unsightly and it's just not fun. But after a while, so many of these stories pile up and I have to have you on. So welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me back, James. And you're absolutely right. These are very disturbing stories, but there's so many of them. I'm sorry that's become my specialty, but I do need to talk about them so parents know what's going on. And this latest one, as you mentioned, is in Salina ISD, which is up in the DFW area in Collin County. A middle school coach was arrested for taking locker room recordings of middle school boys while they were undressing and in the shower. And so he's got 2 felony charges against him. The connection here is that he also happens to be the son of Salina ISD's longtime, very successful head football coach and athletic director. So after this young coach, Caleb Elliott, was arrested, there began to be stories circulating that there had been previous incidents of him having predatory behavior on students at the school. And the questions arose, did his father, who was also his boss, know about it? Did other administrators in the district know about it? And so this has now sparked not only a criminal investigation into young Caleb Elliott, but a civil lawsuit from parents of some of these middle school boys against the district administration for what they claim is a cover-up. Well, I don't know where we're going with that one because there are so many facets in this. When I read the comments under some of the social media posts, I get information that I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds scary as hell. Anytime there's pictures or video, sneaky videos or pictures that are taken of kids, I think the thing we're all scared of is this stuff now out on the internet and being passed around with other sickos. Well, fortunately, to date, the police have said that they haven't found any evidence of that. The local Salina Police Department is doing the criminal investigation. In fact, the district touted that they were doing an internal investigation that was going to get to the bottom of things, and then turned around and said, no, the police told them to butt out until they were done, which is not a bad idea, but there's kind of separate lines of investigation going on here. And to top it off, the state attorney general has now said that he will launch a state level investigation of what has happened in this district, not just the crimes that have gone on, but whether the school officials were complicit in enabling it and or covering it up. But the best news that we could hear for these boys and their families is that none of these pictures or videos were shared out onto the internet, and police said that they so far have not found evidence of that.
Well, thank God for that. We're talking with Aaron Anderson from TexasScorecard.com. Now, yesterday you had to write another article where if you scoot over west a few miles and north to the other side of the lake, there's Collinsville, where a different coach is in trouble, according to Collinsville ISD. They just released a press statement yesterday. You already have a write-up on TexasScorecard.com. And this is inappropriate activity or communications, I should say, with a student.
Correct. Now, that's very non-specific, and this coach has just been placed on leave. There's not been any charges filed at this point, but again, he is the successful two-time state championship winning baseball coach. So there's, always seems to be a hesitancy to go after these people, like Salina. They are, Salina is the state champions, and they want to win another championship. But this baseball coach, the parents in the district tell me that there is some history there. The allegation is communications, and you know what that means? It means using those iPhones and apps like Snapchat to send the sexually explicit messages, pictures, and whatnot, which is essentially a grooming activity by these adults trying to get involved with these underage students, which is a crime.
Yeah. And if you go to Texas Scorecard, Aaron Anderson, you have a couple other write-ups on teachers from just over the last week. Now, they're not actually in North Texas. There's one in South Texas. There's another one in Hondo, which not exactly in our prime listening area either. But, what an epidemic that's going on. And I wish it got more attention because it certainly deserves more in my observation.
Well, I will say it did get a fair amount of attention in this last legislative session because we've been reporting about it, and some other organizations have been really digging into it and exposing not just the allegations, the crimes, the convictions, but the way that school districts have handled it to try to keep it quiet and to address that. And so one thing that got passed this legislative session was a bill to allow these families of victims to sue the school districts when they have been negligent to allow these teachers to commit these crimes against students right there on the campus. And in fact, State Representative Mitch Little, who sponsored that bill, is going to be holding a press conference tomorrow morning about the Salina ISD issue and how this new law is going to take effect and allow families there and in districts across the state, because it's happening all across the state, to hold these school districts and these officials accountable.
Well, in the last 4 days, you've had to write 4 different articles about 4 different teacher situations in the state of Texas alone. This is something I want to keep an eye on, because look, if this was pastors or Catholic priests, this would be a national travesty. Or if this was, cops shooting unarmed people of any demographic, this should be a national tragedy. Somehow it just really bothers me that our children can be abused on this regular of a clip and it doesn't get more notice.
Well, right. And one organization, Texas Education 911, that did a lot of research on this topic, they called it state-sponsored child abuse, because we are paying the salaries of these teachers and giving them access to our kids, and we need to be doing a better job of protecting them. School districts always say student safety is our highest priority, and yet these things continue to happen, and these school districts need to make that PR statement true, or they're going to be held accountable in court.
All right, Aaron Anderson, I hope we can minimize this project so much, or this problem so much, that I get to read articles about you from other topics. I can't wait for that day to happen.
Same. Thank you so much for having me on.
The James Show is going on the road November 11th. There's going to be a live broadcast, so you can come see the James Show happening right in front of your face. Don't expect too much. It's just going to be a dude with a microphone and a laptop talking. Like, that's it. Like, that's really... That's all a radio show is. There's not a whole lot of things going on. There's not some guy next to me with like headphones and a clipboard on. It's like throwing his pen at some guy who's rushing out to go get, I don't know, some Gatorade or something. There's not a whole lot of action there, but it's always fun to meet the people that are listening on a regular basis. I even enjoy the people that come by like, hey, James, listen to you every day. Listen to you at work. That's all. And then they walk off. Like, I don't mind talking to people for a longer basis, but I think there's a lot of people out there, and I know I've been in your shoes. I've tried to meet people that I listen to on the radio or on TV. You just want to say, hey, I like your show. That's all I got. Bye. But we're going to be doing it. This is cool because I wanted to go to this place anyway, the new Medal of Honor Museum. Feels like they've been building this thing forever. And I remember when they first started building it, I went to like a Cowboy game. It was it was the home game against Tom Brady, and they had just started building that thing over there, and it was really just the stilts, and they had built the stilts, and they were starting to build like the bottom floor, but it looked like they were building the top floor first because this whole thing is on stilts. And so I was like, what is that going to be? And so I had to look it up on my phone, National Medal of Honor Museum. Well, that sounds kind of awesome. And so here I get to be a part of it. The National Medal of Honor Museum is going to have us there all day in honor of Veterans Day. That's right. November 11th. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, right there between the Cowboy Stadium and the Ranger Stadium, where all the fun stuff is in Arlington, you got like Wet and Wild across the street. You got Six Flags down the road. Right there in the middle of all that, it's that building that's on stilts. That's the National Medal of Honor Museum. You've driven past it 1,000 times on I-30. So we're going to be spending all day out there. Now, the morning show doesn't do remotes. It's ridiculous. No one's going to be out there at 5 in the morning to come say hi. The museum's not even going to be open. So we're going to let them do their show live here. Casey's going to, when I say here, I mean at the studios. Casey's going to do his show live from the National Medal of Honor Museum from 9 to 11. And then Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins is on from 11 to 2. Now, in that time slot, we're making the morning show drive out to Arlington, and they will be at a table where we have our little WBAP table. And you can meet them from 11 to 2. That's when they're scheduled to be there. So I know, like, you can be nice. Like, I like you too, James. You really want to meet Hal J or Monty or Ernie or Carla. I get it. But that's when they'll be there from 11 to 2. So this is your chance. And look, and I don't say that because, just being self-deprecating for comedy's sake. When I'm at the state fair, people ask, is Ernie here? Where's Hal J? It's like, look, they're not going to just come sit next to me while I do my show at the state fair. However, they are going to be sitting next to me at the National Medal of Honor Museum on November 11th. I don't know why. Look, when they give us the notes to promote this stuff, they're like 1861 AT&T Way, Arlington, Texas, 76011. Hey, people who are writing my notes, no one does addresses anymore. You just ask your phone. You just hold the button. You say, give me directions to the National Medal of Honor Museum. That's it. Or I could mess up with a lot of people's phones. I like doing this. Watch this. Hey, Siri, give me directions to the National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington. Now, right now, I've triggered a whole bunch of people's phones. And right now, Siri's telling them directions. So, I got you, everybody. I can do that with Alexa, too. Alexa, play Hall & Oates. Right? So if someone's Alexa heard that from the radio, they'll start playing some annoying song from the 80s. It's great. It's a good trick. But I like this because, we don't get out and do remotes a whole lot. And I don't think, have we ever done one from Arlington? Not that I know of. So this will be a great chance to go meet some of you people out. And there's very little excuses out here. It is so centrally located in the Metroplex. It is the dead geographic center. So listen, if you got to work, I understand. If you got kids who are doing things and, you can't get to it, I understand. But you people who have the opening in your schedule, come on by, say hi. You have the chance to meet the entire WBAP crew. Casey's going to be there. Morning Show's going to be there. The James Show's going to be there. It's all happening November 11th all day, and it's for a fantastic cause, celebrating Veterans Day, November 11th at the National Medal of Honor Museum. Coming up next, minutes, we're going to answer the question, do women really want an honest man? I say no. A good way to demonstrate that women don't actually want an honest man would be to display what such an honest man would sound like. This is comedian Jeff Dye.
Women go, no, come on, that's whatever. I like an honest man. Trust me, you don't. An honest man is called an ass. But we have to say stuff like, oh, honey, come on. I don't think those women are attractive. Ugh. No, you're magically and unscientifically the only human I'm attracted to. Look at them over there with their boobs and butts. Ugh. We say things like, of course, honey. Why wouldn't I want to spend my only day off at a pumpkin patch? That doesn't sound stupid at all. What's that? It costs money? Terrific. Let me grab my jacket. An honest guy would go, what's that, pumpkin patch? Go yourself. I'm not doing that. It's the stupidest I've ever heard. Where do you come up with all this stupid I don't understand. You're like really good at coming up with dumb we should do. Do you have a website you go to for dumb? Like, how do you find so much dumb for us to do?
You've probably already figured this out. You're listening to WBAP. You're probably not a spring chicken. And I don't know if you found this out the hard way. Your dad sat you down and had a conversation with you. But I love these little talks here because my kids are just now getting old enough. Like, my oldest son is 15 years old. And, I'm kind of trying to teach him a little bit of game here. Like, this is how you talk to women. What do you mean how you talk to women? It ain't the same, dude. It's not the same as talking to guys. It just isn't. And so, you throw out little tips and tricks, and you don't want to push it too much. You just hope he picks them up because, one thing I'm gonna have to sit down my sons and tell them, how y'all all have to have the talk with the kids. I'm gonna tell my sons, listen, one day you're gonna fall in love with a beautiful woman, and you're gonna be with her a while. She's gonna ask, do these jeans make my butt look big? The answer is always, no matter what the damn jeans look like, no. Got it? It's always no. How does this outfit look? I don't think, has Miss Parker caught on yet?
Hi, Miss Parker.
Crap, I think she's listening right now. Miss Parker, have you noticed that in the 15 years of wedded bliss, that every single outfit has looked good on you? You don't think that's suspicious at all? You don't think that you tried on one bad outfit? No? You just perfect? The thing is, I'm smart. I know the answer what I think doesn't really matter. What comes out of my mouth really matters. And so that's, if you're younger, listen, man, you might as well just write that down. That should be in the Bible. It's so true. But women they have a hard time being happy. And the truth doesn't make them happy.
Women with curly hair buy a straightener. Women with straight hair buy a curler. Women with dark hair dye it blonde. Women with blonde hair dye it dark. Women with big boobs, they get a breast reduction. Women with small boobs, they get implants. I mean, you can't make that species happy. If they're light skinned, they want to get darker. There is no making them happy. They got eyebrows. They shave them off and draw new ones on. There is no making that species happy.
What about men?
No, men are good.
Got it? Ladies, we love you. I'm just trying to help out a little bit with the younger men out there. And really, listen, to younger men out there, they need this. They are being fed a constant stream of lies about what they're going to need to do in their future. They are told that women care about you as a person. They're not shallow like men. Men only care about looks. They just want you to be beautiful or have big boobs or long, beautiful hair, a pretty face or a big butt. But women are much deeper than that. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's a different form of shallow. It's still shallow. It's just a different form of shallow. Just trade beauty for money and all the stereotypes still fit. Because a guy will look over all kinds of flaws in a woman if she's a perfect 10. They'll look over most of her flaws if she's a 9. They'll look over some of her flaws if she's an 8, quite a few of her flaws if she's a 7. And on down the ratio goes, just in a perfect linear equation. Same thing with women. Women will overlook all of a man's flaws if he's worth $1 billion. Listen, Garrett, single right now. If I gave him $1 billion, he wouldn't be single for 5 minutes. Or maybe 5 days. Might take Garrett a little while. Yeah, Garrett is picky. He has all the women on him as it is. Can't imagine if you had even more women to fight off all day, Garrett, with all that money. Oh, that'd be so embarrassing. They're fighting over him now so bad. No, you wouldn't be like King Solomon, sorry. So yeah, that's the different way in which women are shallow. But they are shallow. And as a dad, I actually don't mind that. And on either side. Like if my son marries a woman who looks like Sydney Sweeney, or Garrett's not a big fan of Sydney Sweeney. How about Scarlett Johansson? No, this is my fantasy. The hottest women in the world, besides obviously Miss Parker. Scarlett Johansson, Christina Hendricks, Bella Thorne, Garrett's mom. I'm just kidding. See if you're paying attention. If my son married a woman that is that beautiful, but she had like a 94 IQ, I'd be okay with it. I'd be like, you did great, son. You've really set yourself up well for a happy life from here on out. What if she had what if she was a perfect 10, but she was dumb and she didn't have a job and she didn't have any marketable skills? Son, you did great. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Look, I can't wait to show all my friends your beautiful new wife. Now, my daughters, if they go out and they marry a guy who's maybe short, fat, bald, bad breath, but he's got a private jet, same thing. Oh, my God, babies, you did such a good job. I am so proud of you and your husband. I can't wait to show all my friends the awesome husband my daughter got. So make no mistake about it. It can feel shallow. It can sound kind of shallow. Guys want beauty. Girls want money. But I'm down with all that. As a dad, go shallow. Go hard. Go get the richest man possible or the most beautiful girl possible. You come home, you make your dad proud. I don't know what mom's going to say. She's a little more nuanced. She's a little deeper in the thought process, but not dad. I'm right there with you at the shallow end of the pool. We're in the baby pool. In fact, we're just in like a puddle over here. That's how shallow we are. But you know what we are? The shallow people? We're happy. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. Remember, the James Show will be on the road at the National Medal of Honor. We'll be broadcasting live November 11th from the National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington. So come on out and say hi. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.